Hey, Jess, what's that saying about Queensland? Beautiful one day, good than pelting down with rain the next, is it? Something like that? Is that what it is?
I know, and apparently we're also called the Sunshine State. So, I mean, I don't know what's happening at the moment.
Look, as the resident Queenslander on this show, all I can say is, can you please sort it out? In the meantime, let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody, and what an absolute annoying fizzer. I'm trying not to swear because that's what I was doing when the rain started to come down, just as things were sort of setting up beautifully in the first T20 international between Australia and India. India getting off to a flyer, Australia coming back with a few wickets, but then the rain came down on the rain coast or the Gold Coast or whatever you want to call it. Look, if you have any comments, questions about what you saw in the 15 and a bit overs that we did have of play, please do drop it into the comment box and we will do our best to include it. Jess, what's going on? It was there, wasn't it? It had the makings of an absolute cracker.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the wicket looked like an absolute belter. The ball was coming on really well. There was pace and bounce. There was minimal turn. I think there was maybe Ash Gardner and even Georgia Wareham got a few to turn, but nothing really to sort of trouble the batters. And it looked like you could just, if you just met the ball with a full face, and hit through the line of the ball, it was going to the boundary left, right, and centre. And yeah, I mean, I think the Australians might have got away with one there potentially.
Well, yeah, certainly the flyer India got off to. Hello to everyone who's joining us live. Pooja Gossika, hello, our friend Pooja says, whenever India is in a winning position, rain is saving them, as in Australia. Such a shame. Yes, it is. It is a real shame. A shame for us fans too, because we really, really want to see a whole game. It would be so good. Anyway, let's talk about the start of the match because it was a heck of a start. We had Taylor Fleming back in the side after that Achilles injury, bowling to Shafali Verma. And it was basically all or nothing. There were wild swings, but when you did connect, Lord above, that was some mighty fine striking.
Yeah, it was. And guess what else there was, Mel? Another front foot no ball, right? So I tell you,
There's a
it's a
theme
thing.
here.
From all reports, I mean, she was bowling to my state teammate Georgia Redmayne during the test, and Georgia was saying that she was stepping over by a fairway as well. And lo and behold, it happened tonight. But Tay was really quick to sort of fix that with her run up, and obviously she was very eager to get out there. You could tell, and she was bowling very fast, but. Shafali Verma was well and truly up to it as well, and I mean, anybody who can block a ball for six over cover must be in pretty good touch. I think I was pretty floored by that, but yeah, I mean, I think there was a graphic on the TV during the innings as well that nobody could ever question Shafali Verma for using her crease. She was all the way off the wide line on the offside. She was letting all her stumps go down the leg side, and I mean, hitting Tava Lemek for a couple of sixes, both over cover and straight down the ground. Was absolutely incredible to see. And yeah, it was just her start really sort of set the tone, and it goes to show exactly what she's capable of. And I mean, I'm not looking forward to having to bowl to her in the WBBL, that's for sure.
That's well, yeah, it's pretty interesting. Although I guess you could say, I mean, she faced 14 balls. She scored 18 runs, all of them sixes, and got out. So talk about here for a good time, not a long time. But is it part of the thing that we hope might see develop in her game? Because that's a lot of dot balls, 3 scoring shots in 14 deliveries. We don't see a lot of the drop and run sort of style of play from Shafali Verma. Is that something that you think would be good for her, and that maybe will be good for her to play in the WBBL, in just being able to eliminate more of those drop balls? Or is it just something where you go, let's just sit back and let her do what she does?
Yeah, I think it would be probably somewhere where she could develop over time, but at the same time, she's only 17, I think, and you don't want to lose that natural flair, but you know that that's the way that she plays, and sometimes it's going to come off in a rapid fire 50 or 60, but I mean, yeah, look at that
It didn't look like
that
that.
blocking technique. I mean, and that's the thing too, though, right? Is like in T20 cricket that people always think that you need to be hitting boundaries right from ball one, but that's not necessarily the case. You still have significant amounts of time, and you are still allowed to block a delivery or leave a delivery. It might be less common, but you do still have the ability to and the time in the game to get yourself in as a batter. But I mean, with somebody of the power that Shafali Verma has, then I mean, why waste the energy in blocking a ball, right? But I think, yeah, if for her to develop her game and to play, I guess to be at the crease for longer periods of time and inflict that sort of pain on any sort of opposition, that um, I would love to see her develop that ability to for a drop and run, or I mean that the way she got out off Ash Gardner, I think Ash really set her up nicely for that. Because I mean, hitting the previous ball for six, and then sort of Ash bowling it quicker and slightly wider, and then Shafali going for a similar shot that obviously didn't come off. But yeah, it's sort of you can't really criticize her for playing that way. One, it's T20 cricket, and two, that's exactly how she plays, and you don't want to change that. But yeah, the exciting thing is that she is so destructive, but still has so many areas where she can improve and be even more destructive in the future.
Absolutely, and she's just fun. Let's face it, she's fun to watch, and I'm so excited that she's
She's not
staying.
fun to bowl at, I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, well, I'm looking forward to hearing at some point, what your plans end up being for it, because I don't think I would enjoy it either.
Get
Thanks to
her
all
out
of you
before
again.
she reaches 10.
Get her out first ball. Here's my advice to you, Jess. I would advise you taking her wicket on the first ball. That's your big advice from cricket expert here. Lots of you joining in, and I know a few people. We're going to talk about some more of Australia's bowling and fielding, but lots of comments about Jemima Rodrigues, who, boy, she looked fantastic. As SS98 says, Jemmy looks in great touch. The 100 form continues. Yes, it does. And Dana, hello, Dana. Tell about Jemmy's knock today. Well, and why do you think India didn't use her in ODI and tests? Well, she hasn't been in great form for India playing in the test matches in the UK. So maybe it was sort of a matter of they've looked at her in the 100 and gone, right, that's her format at the moment, and the closest one we've got is T20.
Yeah, well, I think you look back to the squads that the Indian side put out during the ODIs and the test, and sort of found it challenging to figure out where she would have fitted in, and it would have been that number three role that Yastika Bhatia has done really well at. So, and obviously you have somebody of the class of Raj as well, that it would have been very difficult for Jemmy to break into that side, particularly like you mentioned, Mel, off the back of her form in their recent England series. But yeah, to see her come out the way that she did today, you could tell that she was really pumped to finally be getting a game. Like her first game of the series, having gone through 2 weeks of quarantine, sitting on the sidelines, wishing you were out there, going through all those training sessions, and then to finally get her opportunity and to perform the way that she did was absolutely incredible. And yeah, to finally, I think for her, tonight she passed 1,000 T20 international runs as well, and she probably showed a lot of extra power that she's not normally been renowned for in the past. So you could tell that she's put a lot of work into that, and I mean, you saw it in the 100, and it was nice, I guess, for her to be able to continue that little purple patch she's on. regardless of the fact that she missed out on playing games for over the last month or so, that straight away she just hit the ground running as if it was her first game after the 100.
Yeah, some of those, when you talk about power, some of the power with which she played those cut shots, and absolutely just the way she just cracked her wrist through the ball, was just incredible to watch, really, and quite a joy to watch. So she obviously looks like she's in brilliant touch. That is fantastic for India. So someone has been listening in, I swear, on our pre-show talks, because how about this from Parisha Jain? Jess, sometimes I feel that having too many bowling options makes Meg a bit confused. She wants to give everyone a chance. For instance, Pez gave just 3 runs but wasn't brought back. Thoughts? We were discussing this very thing, weren't we?
Yeah, we were, and I think from my perspective now, being a captain of our state and heat squads, it's sort of I agree that sometimes having too many bowlers can actually make it harder for you as a captain. That you sort of question yourself whether one bowler is better at the time, but then you know that somebody else hasn't gone for too many runs, but you go off then gut instinct, and then sometimes you just don't know who you're going to go for. But yeah, I think I was a little bit surprised that it took, I guess, so long for Perry to come into the game first and foremost, and then secondly, yeah, to only get that one over and not sort of come back anytime soon. But at the same time, I guess we don't know with the rain. I guess Australia might have known that some rain was coming, or she could have been bowling the next few overs to close out the innings. I think that's one of those things we just don't know. But and I think it's always easier from the sidelines as well, because I think I know when you're sort of in the moment as a skipper and you've got all these options that sometimes, yeah, it's just the one that you go for at the time. The viewers might be thinking, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? But I think for Meg, she's an exceptional captain, and there would have been reasons and probably matchups or things like that as well. So I think that's the thing as well, that sometimes the viewers don't really, I guess, aren't privy to those sort of conversations that teams sort of have leading into it. So even though we see that a bowler has only gone for a few runs, it might be a specific matchup or a specific reason why they've only bowled that over, or why they're not bowling to a certain batter as well.
Yeah, and well, obviously, I mean, welcome to punditry, where we get to say whatever we want to say, and we get to sit in our living rooms while we make those various judgments as well. Look, mentioning rain as well, I can see a comment there from Animesh Yadav saying, "Are these matches taking place in Australia or England? Gosh, so much rain! Impact of climate change or preparing home conditions for the English team for the Ashes." Well, they won't be playing up at the Gold Coast, I mean, at the Gabba, hopefully. But I know that you were sort of a little bit frustrated by the way that the rain rules sort of work when you look at the test match, as well as then what's happened tonight, this first T20.
Yeah, it is very frustrating. Like, I think as a player as well, and like, I mean, during the last WBBL, we experienced a lot of rain interrupted games, and a lot of the time, sort of decisions were made based around the weather that was coming, or whether, like, I guess, a game coming on after us, as opposed to sort of the conditions that were there right in front of you. And I always sort of I think for the test match, like you mentioned, like you look back to that, and I think the day 3 was in and around or even day 2 was in and around the lightning sort of hanging around. But looking at the radar, the storm had significantly passed, and you sort of think, okay, well, it's nighttime, and you sort of think, well, a storm could be 100 kilometers away, and you'll still see lightning from it. So what was sort of the decision making there, that it's sort of, well, if it was a day game and the storm was that far away, you wouldn't even know that it was there. So I sort of think, like, sometimes, yeah, the rules are obviously there for a reason. They're there for player and spectator safety and all of that. But sometimes I think we sort of need to look a little bit deeper into it, and sort of see, well, okay, what do we have right in front of us right now? And sort of making those decisions. And even tonight, obviously, it's sort of like, in T20 cricket, you don't really have that much leeway in time. Sort of, as soon as a rain delay happens, you sort of start losing overs just like that. Whereas for the test or the ODI, because you have the whole day or 4 days, you sort of feel like you're sitting around for 3 hours just waiting for a decision. But yeah, whereas the T20 cricket, it's such a shame that you come off for rain straight away and you lose overs. It's sort of, hopefully down the track we can do something where you have maybe like an hour even, or a little bit longer somewhere that I guess in rain, and I think in Queensland at the moment it's obviously storm season, as we've sort of found out as well. But yeah,
I
it's sort
noticed.
of, well, that's the thing though. It's like obviously with COVID and stuff that thankfully the
Yeah.
Queensland government were able to allow the games to be here. So normally these games would have been in Sydney or Victoria, where it's definitely not rain season. But yeah, it's just so frustrating as a player, but then also as a viewer, because you want to watch the game. And obviously the way that the Indian girls came out with the bat, it was set up to be an absolute cracker of a game. That obviously the battle of the big guns with those top batters from both sides that we mentioned right at the very start of the series, that it was shaping up to be an absolute ripper of a contest tonight.
Yeah, it really was. Now we've got Ananya Upendran, who's on here again. Hello, Ananya, with a great question. And let's put you've had a look at India's top order there now, and the track looks like it's great for batting. So as Ananya asked, on such a flat track, how do you as a spinner approach your bowling, limit damage or look to take wickets? Because the spinners, obviously, it was almost a bit of a golden change quite a few times when Meg brought on the spinners and they would take a wicket. So how would you approach this India side, the conditions looking the way they are and knowing they're going to come out big?
Yeah, well, for me, to be perfectly honest, regardless of the conditions, I very rarely go out there seeking to take wickets. A lot of my plans are sort of in and around building pressure and handing the over, I guess, to my bowling partner down the other end. And if it happens to be a day that I take wickets, then that's great. But as soon as I sort of go searching for them, that's when I sort of get punished. But it's not that I don't have plans as to how to get batters out, but I don't outwardly go out there and see, okay, I'm taking a wicket this ball. It's sort of, well, okay, where can I build that pressure on the batter to be able to, I guess, force an error from them? So I think anyway, with T20 cricket, a lot of it is in and around limiting the damage as opposed to taking wickets. Obviously, wickets are good because they sort of, I guess, put a dent in a team's momentum, particularly if it's a really destructive batter, like that Indian top order is. But a lot of T20 cricket, yeah, is in and around, well, how do we actually limit those boundary balls and those boundary options for a batter? So, look, for me, it's sort of in and around bowling really tight areas and sort of going real stump to stump. Or sometimes if we have a venue that might have a bigger boundary on one side, you sort of try and bowl in areas that can almost shut down a whole entire side of the ground. And it's always challenging when you can only have four fielders out as well, because quite often the boundary will go where that fifth fielder would have been. So, but yeah, that's sort of generally how I sort of approach it, regardless of the format, is sort of building pressure, bowling stump to stump, forcing the batter into, I guess, thinking that there's more pressure than there is sometimes.
That's great insight from you as ever. So really appreciate that. So there you have it. Look, goodness knows what will happen. They take 1 point each. This series is still well and truly alive. From what the glimpse we had of what could await us in the next two T20s, I don't know about you, Jess, but I'm pretty excited about them. We just need a full game, really, don't we?
I know, and like, I mean, I haven't looked at the forecast, but yeah, fingers crossed it goes all right. But yeah, hopefully we get a full game in, because these two sides, when they're both playing at their best, it's yeah, going to be an absolute ripper of a game. So hopefully these last two games we can get full games. And quite honestly, I don't know which way either of them's going to go.
Oh, it's pretty exciting. And I am just going to bring up a comment from Jeff to finish off, to say, Jess doesn't plan to take wickets, yet has taken 74 wickets. You can brag about it a little, Jess. Nice work, Jeff, and nice statage there too, up there straight away with the wickets. Well, there you have it. So we'll be back in some form. You're off to Tassie tomorrow to get ready for the WBBL. So hopefully we can still talk to you down there. And for the rest of you, enjoy the next couple of days, and let's just all keep our fingers crossed that we get a full game next time. We shall see. Yeah, we've got that. See you next time.